45 or so. Partly sunny and 47. Cloudy in Fargo-Moorhead, it's 43. Paul Jurgens, News Radio KFGO.
Welcome to Keeping It Real with Erik Hatch of Hatch Realty.
This old house once knew my children. This old house once knew my wife. This old house
yes. Thanks so much for being with us here on the mighty 790 KFGO. Derek Hanson in for Dan Michaels. It's good to have again my old friend Erik Hatch from Hatch Realty, keeping it real. How you doing, sir? It's good to see you again.
Oh, it's good to be here, my man. It's two chubby balding dudes hanging out. That's a perfect way to spend an hour on a Wednesday.
I want to clarify, there's no balding involved with me. It's been bald for you know almost 20 years now. So
well, I have little antennae that hang up in front, and they just become more and more lonely every day.
I shouldn't even say it's been 23 years. It was the summer of 1997, actually, when we made the
decision.
cut. Yeah, because there wasn't much left there anyway.
My wife tells me I should keep hanging on, and she's the only one that like I need to look presentable for. You know what I mean? And she's like, "No, don't shave your head." So here I am, just continuing to
as long as she's
hang on.
cool with it. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I did it more because the interesting part of it is when I would. When I wouldn't shave, before I shaved my head, I would never get carded, right? Mm-hmm. So then I shaved my head, and this was right when it started getting fashionable more, you know, like when Stone Cold Steve Austin did it.
Oh, sure.
More and more people started to follow.
I love that your fashion sense comes from the WWE.
Tell me that. Now, Paul, you're a fan. Wouldn't you agree more and more people found it acceptable to shave your head once Stone Cold started doing it?
I think so.
He was losing his hair.
Him and Michael Jordan.
Yeah. I agree.
The athletes of a generation.
Right.
Yeah.
No, exactly. Well, so, I mean, that's kind of the way I look at it, but it worked out pretty well. Still busy? I mean, is real estate still hopping?
Cow.
Yeah, it's still going.
Holy cow, Derek. I never would have guessed. And I almost feel sheepish talking about it because I know so many businesses are struggling. Retail is shifting and changing. Restaurants are in big trouble. Commercial real estate is in dire straits in some areas, and we have an abundance of people looking for houses right now. We're scrounging for sellers. We still need more people to sell their homes in order to stimulate the market. A lot of new construction's happening this year, more than we've seen the last few years. But frankly, this is a really hot market right now if you're looking to sell your house, because we have buyers aplenty. Even now in the middle of October, when it usually starts to quiet down a little bit, because we haven't had a snowfall yet, knock on wood,
right?
Because we haven't had a massive change in seasons, buyers are still out in droves, and I don't think it's going to let up anytime soon.
Does it? I mean, it does slow down as it gets colder. People just don't want to go look at houses as much, or does that change now with virtual stuff? I mean, is that because there's virtual before? Now it's on steroids, right? So could that maybe be something you're going to prepare for coming into this winter? Or
the importance of fantastic photography, virtual tours, and video on homes is higher now than it ever has been.
Right.
So we make sure that we're providing that for those that are selling their homes with us. But frankly, it's shocking to see how much our market shifts the minute the snow flies.
Really,
it's the unfortunate part of this business. We make hay when the sun's shining, and so this summer, this fall has been really busy and really great. It'll quiet down. Your average days on market come close to doubling when the winter starts, if you're looking to sell your home. But frankly, there's less buyers too, so there's less competition.
Interesting. I mean, and I think that's the one thing about it I can understand a little bit, just because I think people kind of shelter more this time of year. And then if you get in a situation where people are working from home even more, because going back to March all the way down. So, yeah. And I guess, we talk so much in our business, as you know, we got to get on podcasting. We're a radio station. We have to podcast, otherwise we get left behind.
Of course.
I mean, you look at, Netflix. They started off, hey, we're going to send movies to your home and then send them back, whatever. I mean, now it's just streaming, right?
Well, look at the foresight that Netflix had. They named themselves Netflix.
Correct.
Internet Flix. Yeah, it's over the internet. Yeah.
And so you mentioned retail before. I think what it's shown for retail, for real estate or whatever, you better start thinking ahead, not just think about the now. And I'm sure your industry has done quite a bit of that, right?
Well, we're fortunate to live in the Midwest, first of all, because the coasts will tend to test things out before we have to. And so we get to learn from the errors and the mistakes of those people that live in places with better hills and warmer weather. But otherwise, I wouldn't trade where we are for anything. What we know, though, with real estate is that we're going to see an elimination, my guess is, of realtors to the tune of 25 to 35% of all people in the industry in the next 2 to 3 years. And that's not just my prediction. That prediction is shared by a lot of industry leaders. And the reason why is because of technology. Think of back in the day when I got into real estate. 2006 was my first year in real estate. If I wanted to advertise a house, I would rent out a spot in the magazine that sat at the Hornbacher's,
Right.
entryway, and I had a 1.5-inch grayscale JPEG that highlighted this house. And I, as the realtor, I would buy this book every week. That was like all the new listings. And yes, you'd find some things on the MLS, but frankly, you'd have to do these office tours to find out about it. And the consumer was reliant on the realtor to find out all their information. We held the keys to everything that the buyer or seller wanted and needed. Now that has been inversed, that more people have all the information and they need the realtor to really open the door for them and gain access. And so those that are not delivering a high level of value in terms of negotiation skills, marketing, and strategizing, they're getting left out to pasture. And they're getting left out to pasture because the opportunity is now there for those people to take advantage of the technology that's afforded to them. And they are more wise, they are more savvy than they ever have been before. And that's to the benefit of the consumer. And we as an industry, as a realtors, we have to switch and adjust to make sure that we're not just somebody with a key to the door and the information that the consumer doesn't have. We have to be completely exceptional.
It is Erik Hatch, keeping it real with Erik Hatch from Hatch Realty. Derek Hanson in for Dan Michaels here. If you want to join us and have a question for Erik, 237-5948, or you can text us 35270 on our 702 Communications text line. Let me ask you, I mean, you mentioned winter before, getting your home ready for winter and all that. A lot of things here. I mean, if you're looking, maybe even if you're not looking at selling this winter, or just you want to keep everything together, even going to the spring, right? I mean, for the longevity of your home, this is a pretty important thing.
The work you do now will make the next 6 months. It sounds so long, by the way, if I say the next 6 months, but it's true. You know, it'll be winter through March. And so the next 6 months that we have are really important. The first thing you should be doing right now, Derek, if you haven't started your snowblower yet, go do it.
I did it, yep.
Yeah, go do it and do it right now. Like, as soon as you're done listening to Keeping It Real, go and start your snowblower. Get that thing running, because if it's not running now, you're going to shovel by hand, and you are going to curse more than a sailor. And so I'm just trying to protect your neighbors from all your cursing, first of all.
Exactly.
Next thing is take a look at the dirt around your foundation. Okay, if you have the wrong kind of grade, meaning that the land and the landscaping is leaning into your house instead of away from your house, you have the potential for massive water permeation against your foundation. Now is a perfect time to add some fill dirt, adjust your landscaping a little bit, and to make those improvements. If you have some spots in your yard that are dead or have really struggled, the time to plant seed is now. The snow acts as an insulator for that seed, and you will have a much stronger and greener lawn if you tend to your landscaping now.
I've heard Dave DeCock mention that.
Yeah. The final piece that I would say is that we have to pay very close attention to how we're getting the water away from your foundation, and that comes from the gutters. Your gutters are filled with leaves right now, unless you live in the new part of South Fargo. And taking those extra trips up the ladder to clean that out, or to get the extension on your leaf blower, and making sure that you're emptying out those gutters so that the water can flow away from the foundation instead of pouring straight down, that's going to save you a ton of money. And then, of course, if you haven't done so yet and you're thinking about listing your home in the next 3 to 6 months, capture some pictures of the exterior right now. The colors are prime. The grass is still green. And if you're going to list, it's going to look prettier now than if you have just a bunch of snow around your house.
I'm going to ask you about that when we come back, because we talked about virtual, because I think that is a big thing. And I know when I look at homes, I want to see like autumn colors much more than white snow. So that's an interesting question to, because I've sometimes people put their house for sale, and when I've seen the picture of it in June when they took it in February, I'm going, wait a minute, you might want to update that a little bit. Erik Hatch, keeping it real with Erik Hatch here on the mighty 790 KFGO. Derek Hanson in for Dan Michaels. Got a text message in. We'll get to that when we come back at 35270. This is the Mighty 790 KFGO.
Local, regional, national, and world news at no cost to you. The most honored broadcast news website in Fargo-Moorhead is KFGO.com.
Back to work at that job, the one you realized isn't for you? Well, that's if you're lucky, right? Make your move. You can start a new life as an IT pro in as little as 4 months from the comfort of your own home, even if you have zero computer experience. Take control of your future now. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. Live online classes meet just twice a week. It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
NFL Network. We're all here for football.
That is how we start the show, baby.
We're here for the Thursday night throwdowns.
He is the guy that makes everything go.
Sunday morning breakdowns.
Nobody saw it coming.
He's got it! And all the inside lowdown.
He is ready to go.
Your team.
I think he is a great target.
Our team.
The best wide receiver in the NFL.
Every team.
This is epic.
Back to the end zone. Touchdown!
NFL Network. We're here for football.
If you or a loved one struggles with multitasking, memory, thinking, or communication after an injury or illness, you can find help at Onward Therapy. Hi, I'm Sherry Stitch, part of a group of speech-language pathologists who specialize in treating cognitive and communication disorders. Our therapists are all certified brain injury specialists with unmatched experience. Treatment is also available via telehealth. Contact us for a free consult. We are in MedPark Medical Center and at
KFGO and Vision Ford Lincoln have teamed up with Wapaton area businesses this October to encourage action to schedule your mammogram today. Don't be a chicken, save the breast is our pledge all month long, thanks to these local businesses. Boiler Room. Visit the Boiler Room in Wapaton for great food and drinks and the coolest patio around with a grain bin, ping pong table, and beanbag toss. See them at boilerroomwapaton.com. Farmers Union Insurance. Kyle DeVries, your hometown insurance agent. Home, farm, business, crop insurance, and more. Give them a call or visit their Facebook page, Kyle DeVries Farmers Union. Gross Brothers Construction, an aggregate materials, heavy equipment, and trucking company serving the tri-state region. Check them out for your next project at grossbrothers.com. Hills 210 Cafe and Subs, homemade sweet rolls that will melt in your mouth, daily lunch specials, dine in or take out. Give Sherry a call to cater your next event. Hills 210 Cafe. Thank you again to our featured businesses as they join with KFGO and Vision Ford Lincoln to support this important cause. Take action, schedule your mammogram, and encourage others because early detection saves lives.
Is your business hurting because of COVID? Has your Google ranking decreased? Is your competition getting stronger? Does your website need a makeover? Contact Shout Your Name Web Design today at shoutyourname.com and see what the Screaming Goat can do to get you back at the top of your industry. Shout Your Name will build you the perfect website to help grow your online presence and increase sales. Check us out online at shoutyourname.com.
Red River Valley Co-op Power Halstead reminds you during fall harvest to take extra precautions when working near or around power lines. Before you move equipment and tall machinery, make sure you have adequate clearance. This fall safety reminder from your friends at Red River Valley Co-op Power Halstead. Online at rrvcoop.com.
Hi, I'm Representative Paul Marquardt. Keeping our community safe is my top priority, and that means supporting our law enforcement officers and getting them the funding they need. That's always been my record in St. Paul and why I've been strongly endorsed by the Minnesota Police and Peace Officers Association. I will continue to stand up for our communities and our brave officers who keep our neighborhoods and businesses safe every day.
Re-elect our Representative Paul Marquardt, paid for by the Marquardt Volunteer Committee.
This October, it's about action. Please join Vision Ford Lincoln in Wapaton as we ask, don't be a chicken, save the breasts, and schedule your mammogram today. All October, we're partnering with local businesses to raise funds for Edith Sanford Breast Center and Richland Wilkin Relay for Life. Each time you purchase a case of Truly, Bergsilk Brothers will make a donation for each sold. The Fargo-Moorhead Poncheros will make a donation for every chicken burrito sold. And for every synthetic oil change, Jiffy Lube of Fargo's 3 stores will make a donation.
Listen every Saturday morning from 5 to 11 for the Country Gold Show. KFGO Solid Gold Saturday morning brought to you by Jack Foster and the staff at Willow Creek Insurance of Barnesville, helping find the right medical plan for you.
You're listening to Keeping It Real with Erik Hatch of Hatch Realty.
KFGO time is 4:23. Keeping it real with Erik Hatch. With Erik Hatch and Hatch Real Estate. Derek Hanson with you. A text message comes in, Erik. Erik, will realtors need more support personnel? Yeah, I mean, you talk about you may not have as many realtors, but if right now the way things are going, if your website is down, that's not a good thing, right?
Oh my gosh, the idea of support in the real estate profession, it's changed. At least the way in which we choose to do business, and not everybody's jumping to do that. But let's go back to 100 years ago. Let's say you had appendicitis and you called the doctor with their little medical bag. They show up at your house, and this is the same doctor that checks for glaucoma and checks for osteoporosis and checks for appendicitis, right? That's not necessarily an efficient way. And now how the best hospitals function is like Rochester Mayo, where you have people that are specialists in their area, and there are levels and levels and levels of people that are mastering specialization in that. And we think that real estate is on that same kind of trajectory. We at Hatch Realty, we function solely as a team where every person has specialization. So we have less salespeople and more support, because we want to make sure that each person has just a few hats that they're wearing instead of trying to wear a plethora. Because is the person who's great at paperwork also going to be the great salesperson, also the great marketing person, and also the great administrator? Like, it requires different skill sets in order to do a job exceedingly well, and I think that's the future of real estate. In fact, that's the present of real estate right now.
Because you talk about what homeowners have to do to sell their house in presentation all the time. It's the same thing with you guys having to present your business, and then what they're trying to do, and what we just talked about. Hey, a snowstorm isn't probably the best time to try to put a picture out to sell your house, because people want to think about something good, right? I mean,
well, if we'll talk about photography in two ways. One is, of course, you wouldn't want me with my cell phone to take the pictures of your house.
No.
Wouldn't you want a professional photographer? Because we know that 88% of people start their viewing online. That's where they go. Now, if you're talking about the seasonality pictures, if it is March or February and you see a beautiful summer photo of a house as like the first photo, isn't your gut saying, this place has been on the market a long time?
That's true.
Everybody else doesn't like it. Why would I? And then inversely, if you're in June or July and you see a photo of the house and it's a winter photo, you're again saying, this place has been on the market a long time. And that doesn't work. Realtors are notorious for not updating their photos, whether it be the exterior photos or their own personal headshots. I'm still using one from 2006 where I looked great and I had a full head of hair and less chins. And I need everybody to know, like, hey, this guy once had it.
Yeah, my Twitter profile pic is one of my senior pictures in high school. I had a full head of blonde hair too. So updating photos is big, right? I mean, there's no getting around it. That makes a lot of sense what you just said there. I still like the summer ones. I don't care how long it's been on the market.
Well, here's what you do is you lead with a couple of exterior photos that show the snow.
Yep.
And then you show, here's what the place looks like in the summer. It's a both and. You don't eliminate the summer photos because that's when it's always going to look best. But you do have to make sure that the season matches, or the photo matches the season.
That makes a lot of sense. Erik Hatch, keeping it real here with Hatch Realty. Derek Hanson in for Dan Michaels on the Mighty 790 KFGO.
KFGO features comprehensive news, sports, and information at KFGO.com. With local, regional, and national news stories, KFGO.com always has you covered. Subscribe for our daily email or text message alert at KFGO.com/news. News at KFGO.com is brought to you by Corwin Toyota of Fargo. Corwin, family driven for 100 years.
I'm Representative Shannon Rose-Jones, and I'm running for re-election in District 46. I pride myself on being accessible and believe that I have both the vision and experience necessary to move Fargo forward. I have a proven track record of getting things done and want to continue to be your voice in Bismarck. When re-elected, I will continue to make District 46 a safe, affordable place to raise a family. On November 3rd, vote Shannon Rose-Jones for District 46.
Paid for by Rose-Jones for North Dakota. Shayna Beadle, Treasurer.
Now at Menards, save big money on your next project with 11% off everything. Find your style with Patriot Lighting ceiling fans. Explore a wide variety of different styles and finishes of ceiling fans. You'll be sure to find the right one for your home. All Patriot Lighting ceiling fans are 11% off. Get 11% off everything now at Menards. Good through October 17th. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
KFGO is looking for a network administrator who will provide technical administration and maintenance support for PCs, servers, local and or wide area networks. We are an equal opportunity employer by choice, so if maintaining and growing the Mighty 790 sounds right to you, send your cover letter and resume today to Tyson Hinsdale, 557 Scott Street, Wausau, Wisconsin, 54403. Fax it to Tyson's attention at 715-848-3158 or email it to itjob@mwcradio.com.
It Takes Two content from blogs to podcasts, social media, and more, brought to you by the new owner of the Wild Rice Bar and Grill, Waylon and the crew. They have an all-new happy hour from 3:30 to 6:30 daily and now open on Sundays. Contact the Wild Rice Bar and Grill about their private room for your next party or event. Just a few minutes south of Fargo off the Wild Rice exit.
This hour KFGO News and Weather is brought to you by Accent Kitchen and Bath, your custom bathroom and kitchen destination. Get started today.
Fargo-Moorhead, cloudy, windy, and 46 degrees. I'm Paul Jurgens. Police and sheriff's departments in northeastern North Dakota are searching for 2 people after what is described as a targeted drive-by shooting outside a convenience store in Grafton. Police responded shortly before 10:30 this morning to a report of gunshots. Police say schools were placed in a temporary lockdown. Staff and students were told to shelter in place. The search is now underway for the person who fired the shots and the intended victim. Police say they are known to each other. Fargo police say 2 canine searches did not lead them to the building where the body of a missing man was found. 80-year-old Robert McKinnon was last seen October 1st at the memory care home where he was living. His body was located nearby in a new unoccupied building at 3501 45th Street South. Police said while they asked residents and businesses to check their property, they did not have the authority to search privately owned buildings. Police say there are no signs that a crime was committed in the death of McKinnon. Cloudy, windy, it's 44. This is KFGO News.
It's the absolute very best time to buy flooring at Accent Kitchen and Bath's National Gold Tag Flooring Sale. That's right, luxury vinyl waterproof planks, carpeting, cork, laminate, and tile. Yes, it's all on sale at Accent for 1 month only. Call for your free in-home measure, have it professionally installed with the best back warranty in the business, or DIY it with our special cash and carry pricing. Let Accent Kitchen and Bath make the house you like, the home you love.
Accent Kitchen and Bath, the perfect showroom for your home.
Cloudy, 44. This is KFGO News. North Dakota is reporting 713 new positive COVID-19 cases and 159 new active cases, along with 8 additional deaths. The COVID tracking project showed that the state topped 900 new cases per 100,000 people over the past 2 weeks. Cass County had 216 new positive cases, Burley County 151, and Grand Forks County reported 30. There have been 365 deaths. Minnesota's reported another 29 COVID deaths, the highest one-day total since July. The Minnesota House has reconvened for what could be its last chance to pass a $1 billion public construction borrowing package this year. Leaders of the House Democratic majority are gambling that they'll pick up the 6 Republican votes that would be needed for approval if all Democrats vote yes. The bonding bill requires a 60% supermajority to pass. If the bill clears the House, the Senate-controlled Senate could take it up. The bonding bill is the biggest piece of unfinished business left over from the regular session. House leaders say it could create thousands of jobs. Enbridge Energy has completed a small section of its Line 3 crude oil pipeline replacement project in North Dakota, leaving only the Minnesota stretch that has been challenged by state officials and others. More than 400 workers started on the 12-mile North Dakota project in August. Line 3 starts in Alberta and clips a corner of North Dakota before crossing northern Minnesota en route to the Enbridge terminal in Superior, Wisconsin. More than 1.3 million Minnesotans have requested mail-in ballots so far. Secretary of State Steve Simon is encouraging more voters to do the same. Minnesotans are able to vote by mail until Election Day, as long as the ballot is postmarked November 3rd and arrives by the 10th. A central Minnesota bar has been closed for 72 hours for violating state COVID-19 guidelines. The owner of Raleigh's Rednecks and Longnecks in Sauk Rapids says state inspectors noticed members of his staff not wearing masks. He calls the temporary closure a government overreach. He says he's already been in contact with some state representatives who plan to bring it up at the Capitol. Fargo-Moorhead, wind advisory until 7 o'clock this evening. We'll see some clearing later on, decreasing wind eventually, and our overnight low about 27 degrees. Tomorrow, partly sunny and windy once again. High in the afternoon near 47. Friday, mostly sunny, breezy and 43. Saturday, mostly cloudy, chance of light snow and or light rain. And the high Saturday, also near 43 degrees. Fargo-Moorhead, we have a cloudy sky, 44. Paul Jerkins, News Radio, KFGO.
CBS News special report. How's the first family's teenage son doing?
Barron's fine.
The president, just before leaving on a campaign flight to Iowa and after the First Lady announced that Barron Trump had tested positive for COVID-19. CBS's Stephen Portnoy has more on their cases.
Melania Trump says she chose a natural route of vitamins and healthy food, apparently opting not to receive the treatments her husband received. She adds her son Barron tested positive after she and Mr. Trump did, but that as a strong teenager, he exhibited no symptoms.
And he has since tested negative. In an interview this afternoon, CBS Evening News anchor Nora O'Donnell asked Dr. Anthony Fauci about progress toward a vaccine.
We will know by November or December whether or not they have a safe and effective candidate. If they do, there are only a few million doses of those vaccines that would be available.
CBS News special report. I'm Peter King.
Winter starts now. The outdoors are open. You can find that next adventure on a new Polaris snowmobile. The Upgrade Your Ride sales event features the unbeatable deals on new Polaris snowmobiles with rebates up to $2,000 and 0% financing. The deal you've been waiting for is here. With Factory Choice, your dealership has unique customized snowmobiles. Explore the mountains on the RMK Chaos or the trails with the Indy XC. Go see Mike and Kelly at Highway Service Polaris in Hankinson today. HighwayServicePolaris.com.
It's a bigger and better happy hour at the Speedway Steakhouse and Event Center. Happy hours now every day, 47 Monday through Sunday with Tito's, Coors Light, and Bud Light specials. Over 20 beers on tap. One of the largest selections in the area. And don't forget the wing special, 4 to 6 Monday through Thursday. $6.99 wings in 6 great flavors. Buffalo, garlic parm, sweet chili, mango habanero, barbecue, and teriyaki. Just $6.99. If you didn't already know, there's only one place to go. Fargo-Moorhead's home for steaks and seafood is the Speedway. 680 Main Avenue, West Fargo, just east of the fairgrounds.
Are you concerned you may have a bladder infection? Lilistol Research is seeking females 12 years of age and older who currently have a urinary tract infection for a research study. Qualifying individuals will receive study-related care and investigational medication at no cost and will be compensated for their time. To see if you qualify, call Lilistol Research today at 232-7705 or visit us online at lilistolresearch.com for future generations.
Lilistol Research.
Over the last few months, many heroes have emerged, from those in the medical field to those working in our grocery stores. Lakeland General Store in Dunville wants to thank all of their frontline workers for the bravery they have shown. Thank you from Lakeland General Store. Online at lakelandgeneralstore.com.
Agriculture is an important part of our state, and KFGO is your #1 source for ag news with Sarah Heinrich and Sam Halsengar broadcasting from the Enterprise Sales Ag Studios. Enterprise Sales Company of Valley City, your drive-over dump pit, grain storage, and grain handling experts.
You're listening to Keeping It Real with Erik Hatch of Hatch Realty.
KFGO time is coming up on 4:37. Derek Hanson in for Dan Michaels here on the drive. Erik Hatch in, as you just heard, with Keeping It Real from Hatch Realty, getting all the ins and outs of what's going on in the world of real estate. And as we mentioned, going into the winter months, kind of getting ready if you're still looking to sell your home. Is this, we kind of got back past the college season and all that, and as far as buying maybe rental properties, right? Because, I mean, is this a good time to do that maybe? And is it more of a buyer-seller market when it comes to that, or how's that working out?
Man, I'll be honest, for years, I always used to say, when somebody would say, how's the market? It's the question I get the most. Erik, you're a realtor. How's the market? I can't say good. And the reason why I can't say good is because that's a blanket answer across everybody.
Yeah.
Are you a buyer? Are you a seller? Are you moving up? Are you downsizing? Are you investing? Here's what I can tell you right now. Sellers are hands down at the advantage. So those that are looking to sell their properties, especially under, I'd say under $300,000, you're going to have a plethora of buyers interested in your property. If you live in the Fargo-Moorhead metro, you move out to things in ruralville. I know you live in Barnesville, right?
Yep.
Living in Barnesville, things aren't going to move quite as fast. There's going to be less buyers. However, there's also less sellers. And so people have less choices, and so they may be more apt to jump on something when it does seem right.
If they want that small town feel, small school, and that's the biggest selling point, because I think you would agree. I see sold signs come up about as quickly as in my hometown. And because I take my dogs for a walk, I'm like, they just put that thing up there. That's amazing. I know that's happening in Fargo too.
Very, very much so. Last week, we had a tremendous week where we managed, we averaged selling, we'll sell as a team about 850 homes this year. And so we're averaging, boy, if I do quick math, that's 17 or 18 homes a week. Somebody's going to test my math. Text in and tell me how wrong I am. At the next break, I'll check my actual math of how many homes we're selling in a week. But October is usually a little bit slower than what we see in the summer months. And we pended 29 deals last week. And a lot of those are listings that are just flying off the shelf. So to your aforementioned question, Derek, is now a good time to invest in real estate? So you can invest for your family. It can be your own personal residence. You can seek out something like a duplex where you're going to live on one side, rent out the other, and hopefully that it pays for the mortgage. What I can tell you is that interest rates are obscenely low, lower than they ever have been. And so although the advantage is to the seller where they're going to get closer to their asking price, your affordability as a buyer is actually more opportunistic. And so here's how you can invest in real estate. It's 3 different ways. Number 1, cash. You can pay cash for the entire property, and if you have that kind of cash, I'm ready to be your best friend. Let's just
cash is king still, no matter what, right?
Always. You have the most power in real estate when you have cash and readily available cash to purchase investment properties. The second way is if you own your primary residence and no other residences, you oftentimes can get like a vacation property or a rental, right? Something that you're adding in there that you may frequent some, and you're still getting the traditional federal interest rates. Right now, a federal interest rate, let's say it's 3-ish%. And that all depends on what your credit score is, how much money you're putting down, that sort of thing. Now, you can get that again at like a 3%, and you don't have to put down 20 or 25%. The third option for those that are serious about investing is you use local money. You're going to find a local bank, and what you're going to do is you're going to strategize with them. You're going to pay a higher interest rate, and then your term is actually going to be like a 15 or 20-year term instead of a 30-year term, which is pretty traditional. Now, I know people that have portfolios of 50 or 100 houses that they're carrying. And in those portfolios, the average interest rate is something like 5 or 6 or 7%.
Man.
So it's higher than what you can get. You can only go and get the super low rate on your own primary and then like a lake place or something like that. Anything beyond that, and they're going to say, no, we're not going to give you any more of this government money. You have to go and get your own local money. And then you have to put down, say, I know for the investment properties that I have to put down 25% on all of them. Yeah. And so it's going to cost you more to invest. You're going to have a higher interest rate if you invest. However, if you can show the easiest rule that I can tell anybody who's considering investing is the rule of 1%. This is the dumbed down version of how to make sure that a property makes you money. It's the rule of 1%. Let's say you buy a property for $100,000. Yes, the bank is carrying the note on that, and you put down however much. If you want to know if that place is going to cash flow well for you, you have to collect at least 1% of the property value every month in rent. So 1% of $100,000 is $1,000. If you can charge $1,100 or $1,200 in rent, you know that thing's gonna deliver cash like an ATM to you. If you purchase a place for $150,000 and you can only rent it out for $1,100, well, now you're in the hurt bag just a little bit. Your margins, your numbers, those really start to dissipate.
Interesting. If you want to join us, 237-5948. It's Keeping It Real with Hatch Realty. Erik Hatch with us. And if you want to text message us, 35270. Erik, pros and cons of contract for deed on rental properties.
Contract for deed. That's a great question. Thanks for the texter that sent that in. I'm doing a contract for deed right now. I own a place, and I'm doing the contract for deed. So it's a matter of who is the pro and con for. The contract for deed can look really different. And this is essentially, for those of you that aren't familiar with the term, it's a rent-to-own opportunity, but it's locking somebody in. And so if you're a purchaser, the reason why you would consider contract for deed is probably because you don't have a high enough credit score to qualify. 620 is where the credit score used to be. When COVID hit, they raised that up a little bit, but you can still find some that offer 620. Let's say you're at 580 and you think, all right, I can find my way through this, Derek, after 6 months, I can probably qualify for this property. So you can lock it in, but usually your cash down is non-refundable. So let's say the contract you have requires $15,000 in non-refundable cash. Well, you're in a hurt bag if all of a sudden you say, well, I can't get my credit score up and now I can't afford this house anymore. And so you're out that $15,000. No way are you going to be able to retain that as the renter or the buyer. So the opportunity that really presents itself is if you know for certain you can get your credit score up. I like contract for deed with this option because it's a property that I had flipped and put back on the market. We had it fall apart 3 times with like the final week. It fell apart because the buyers lost their financing. And I just needed to stop the bleeding. And so I found somebody I liked and trusted. I put them in there. It's a contract for deed, and I can't wait for them to buy me out. So it has its upsides. For sure it does.
Yeah, I mean, and you hear about this a lot with restaurants, or if people want to retire and things like that, right? Those type of things happen if they just want to wash their hands of it and be done with it. So.
With contract for deed, I'm the bank now.
Yeah,
that's how it's played. Is the owner of the property is now the bank, and there's risk associated with that if you're dealing with somebody. If you have a 400 credit score and you want to do contract for deed, stay the heck away from me. I don't simply because your credit score is a reflection on the choices that you've made financially.
Yeah.
And that is high risk, and I'm not willing to be the bank for that. That's just very little upside.
How much does location matter in rental property? I mean, you're talking next to colleges. I mean, that's a different clientele. I mean, that can be good or it can be bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because 20-year-olds are 20-year-olds. I mean, you can have some responsible ones who respect what you're doing, and you just never know sometimes.
Yeah, most of the rental properties in town are, at least single-family rental properties, are around campus.
Mm-hmm.
NDSU, MSU, and Concordia. Those old 1920 to 1960s homes, 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom, 1 garage stall, those are a lot of rental properties. There's a lot of neighborhood associations, especially the Roosevelt and Horace Mann associations up in North Fargo, that are super protective and trying to keep rentals out of there because they want to keep it as a single-family neighborhood. But if I were to buy a rental property and I wanted the greatest chance for it to be rented, it's hard not to look by campus simply because there's a lot of college students. Now, COVID's changing that right now.
Sure.
If you have a place down by, let's say you have a place down by the Flying J that you can rent out. You're over in Points West or whatever, and you have a great buy level. That's a great opportunity. But what we see in this town is it's really interesting. A lot of people don't know this. It's hard to rent out anything for more than $1,600 a month for rent. Now, $1,600 a month for rent is a lot of cash. But if you're looking, if you go to apartments.com, if you look at Homes HQ, all these different resources, you're going to see that rare do any properties try to collect more than $1,600 a month in rent. So we're capped out. You don't see that $500,000 property trying to be rented out. Every once in a while you will. And I have a buddy right now who owns a beautiful condo in downtown Fargo. It's about a $750,000 condo. He's trying to rent it out for $5,000 a month. $5,000 a month to rent a 2-bedroom condo.
Ow.
Yeah.
That's steep.
Well, and you're paying for location. Again, you said, does location matter? Location will determine the price, bar none, hands down, every time. But reflective of that, too, is our community has a cap on it, on just how much you can actually collect for rents. And rare can you ever collect something more than $1,600 unless you lend yourself a physician or a high-powered executive that's coming here for just a year or two.
He is Erik Hatch. It's Keeping It Real with Hatch Realty here on the second Wednesday of every month on The Drive with Dan Michaels. Derek Hanson filling in. Final segment coming up, 237-5948. I want to talk about other types of rental properties you might want to invest in, maybe not around here, and what you think of that and what that means as far as working with the internet and people that you don't know that are going to rent your place. So that's all coming up here on the Mighty 790 KFGO.
This is News Radio KFGO. Weather Watch.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm KFGO Chief Meteorologist Tom Szymanski. Yeah, it's windy out there, and that wind advisory officially continues until 7 p.m. That does not mean that at 7:01, all of a sudden, poof, like a magic trick, the wind's going to die down. That's just the window of opportunity for gusty wind, according to the Weather Service. And the National Weather Service does issue all the weather headlines. So with that in mind, yeah, that wind will be around for a while yet, but it will settle down during the nighttime tonight, and the sky should clear off from west to east. 27 the low. West-northwest winds will settle down to 7 to 15. Tomorrow looks like another windy, partly sunny kind of day, about 47 with a northwest wind at 16 to 36 miles per hour. Hold on to your hats and or toupees yet again. And then as we move into Friday, still a breeze, but not quite as strong of a breeze as what I'm expecting tomorrow. Therefore, mostly sunny, breezy, low 23 with a high near 43. I'm thinking late Friday night or Saturday morning, a chance for some light snow begins, and I think because it will begin either later Friday night or Saturday morning, it should be in the form of light snow, but it could mix with some light rain or change to light rain depending upon where you are. And then once it moves on out toward the evening, maybe flipping back to light snow. So it could go either way, light rain, light snow, or both. If it is all snow, it's not going to be much. There might be a couple of places that get a trace to an inch, maybe an inch and a half. But again, I can't say that for everybody, and I won't, because that's not the way it's going to work out. Depends on the track of the system, which, as of yet, is unknown, but I'll know more tomorrow. On Sunday, a cold, breezy, mostly cloudy day with a high right around 38. So I guess the bottom line is, what a difference a week makes.
Right now in Fargo-Moorhead, cloudy 44. This KFGO Weather Cave forecast is powered by Acme Tools. Don't be left in the dark. Get powered up with a new Honda generator.
Get the latest weather when you need it. 24/7 at KFGO.com.
Proof Artisan Distillers in downtown Fargo produces hand sanitizer plus nationally awarded vodkas, gins, and whiskeys made from local North Dakota ag products. Proof will be live on the drive with Dan Michaels this Thursday at 4:35.
You've got a job to do. Getting something fixed, rebuilt, unstuck. Get what you need at Max Hardware. Tough tools and bulk hardware. Save now during the Max Harvest Day sale. RV antifreeze is only $1.99 a gallon, and grade 8 bolts are on sale for $3.99 a pound. Get a 24-bin steel cabinet for only $99.99. If you've got work to do, shop the Max Harvest Day sale for more great deals. We're not just another hardware store. We're Max.
Hi, my name is Ed. Call me Early Voter Ed. I'm a North Dakota voter, and I want to make sure my voice is heard in this election. So I made a plan. I started by visiting vote.nd.gov to learn my options. I could vote by mail or vote on election day, but I decided to vote early in person at the county offices. Find out where you can vote early in person at vote.nd.gov, or learn about your kind of voting in North Dakota, because it takes all kinds.
State Senator Kent Eakin does not believe that a one-size-fits-all approach to policymaking works for the people of western Minnesota. This is why Eakin has been an independent voice in the Senate, putting our area first. Kent Eakin's family has been here for 5 generations. This is where Eakin was born, raised, and educated. It's where he has worked and raised his own family. Kent's commitment is to the people and the region that shaped who he is today, because his roots run deep in western Minnesota. Deep roots, deep commitment. Vote Kent Eakin for State Senate.
Prepared and paid for by Eakin for State Senate.
KFGO and Vision Ford Lincoln have teamed up with Wapaton area businesses this October to encourage action to schedule your mammogram today. Don't be a chicken, save the breast is our pledge all month long, thanks to these local businesses. Post Hardware Hank in Hankinson, offering a full line of hardware, paint, housewares, and grilling products. They are your hunting headquarters with hunting licenses and anything else you need. Highway Service Polaris. Their goal at Highway Service is to provide quality products and service at an affordable price. HighwayServicePolaris.com. And J-Star Oil and Service Station I-29 and Highway 11 just outside of Hankinson, featuring a complete line of implement tires, truck tires, and passenger tires, and hot stuff deli and pizzas. Thank you again to our featured businesses as they join with KFGO and Vision Ford Lincoln to support this important cause. Take action, schedule your mammogram, and encourage others, because early detection saves lives.
You're listening to Keeping It Real with Erik Hatch of Hatch Realty.
KFGO time coming up on 4:53, final segment, 237-5948. If you want to join us, you can text us 35270. I'm Derek Hanson in for Dan Michaels. We do this the second Wednesday of every month here on The Drive. Erik Hatch from Hatch Realty is with us for Keeping It Real. And we mentioned a little bit about rental properties, Airbnb, and I've made no secret. I'd love to figure out a way to maybe buy an investment property down in the Sunshine State that I love so much. It's always complicated. I found out with the laws in Florida how they do, but dealing with Airbnb, and maybe people do that with lake homes, or maybe come Christmas time, people want to rent a hotel. They want to just have a nice warm house. What are some of the pros and cons with dealing with all these things, that type of rental place?
Well, you're asking the right guy. I have 9 Airbnbs that I run. One, my wife and I use our lake place as a rental option every once in a while because it's a way for us to be financially positive when we do it. Then we also have, I have some places. I have a 10-plex that I own with a couple other people. 6 of those units I rent out, Airbnb out.
Wow.
And I went from collecting an average of, they're small apartments. So I went from collecting $500 a month in rent to now probably $700 or $800 a month in Airbnb dollars.
Wow.
And that's after paying, I pay my property manager, I pay him a 25% cut. So that's the first thing you have to understand if you're considering doing an Airbnb is it is best if you have a property manager. Yes, you can do it yourself, but for me, I'm trying to leverage well, and I don't want to take that time to chase after it because as a property manager, you are the one that's always on call for whatever goes wrong.
Yeah, that's true.
And so with this, he's in charge of marketing. He coordinates the cleaning. He makes sure that the right attendees, the tenants, that they check in well, that they check out well, that they're doing walkthroughs, that everything is taken care of, that the toiletries are still there and everything else. So it is literally turnkey for me. I buy the property. I then empower him, and I'm making 40 to 50% more doing that than I am doing just renting it out normally.
And, I mean, with these things, the renters, they do sign, anything, if there's any type of damage or anything like that, right?
For sure. I mean, there's a credit card on file.
Yeah, right.
And that runs through VRBO or Airbnb, and it's really opportunistic. Now, the risk, the downside is if it's not filling up, you don't have any consistent kind of income.
If you have a pandemic at the end of March, that type of thing?
Yeah, that could maybe affect it.
Right.
I have a place downtown that we consistently were pulling, I don't know, 15 nights a month, and it's a large space. It's meant for groups, essentially. We, for 6 months, were getting 5 nights a month, and at a discounted price, and so I lost my hide on that. Yeah. So it's
I know people
big
rented in
big
Florida
wins, big losses.
Too. That was such a tough time, but then, like a lot of things, rebounded quickly,
very quickly.
And that's something, and that seems weird. And I think it was because, for whatever reason, they felt like being in this house better than a hotel or whatever it might have been. That was kind of a weird thing at that time, if that makes any sense. But.
Yeah, people like having their own space without a bunch of random strangers and germs and whatnot. So Airbnb and all the cleaning companies, they've really stepped up to make sure that when that transition does happen, that things are sanitized exceedingly well.
All right. Well, that's really interesting to see how that works out. I mean, have you had any problems? Because there was a meme that went around with people saying they walked in their Airbnb and there's just a party going on like that. That seems pretty rare, wouldn't you think? I think.
Well, I'll tell you this. I went with my buddy and his 2 kids. They had purchased at a live auction a chance to go to the Philadelphia Eagles and New England Patriots game out in Philly last year, right? It was a Carson Wentz kind of promo. We got to go on the field, got to hang out with Carson and Tom Brady, and like all these things. Such a cool trip. And so I told my buddy who gave me the ticket, I'm like, hey, I'll get the Airbnb. And I didn't do my detailed work, and I didn't dive in. And so I found this place that was just a couple miles from the stadium. I'm like, this is going to be perfect. Well, we walk in, and the owner's there, and I hadn't read that she's going to be in her room the entire time. And then I also walked in, and we found out that this was a marijuana-friendly Airbnb, and we're with a 12 and a 10-year-old, and I've never touched this stuff. And so we had to they're like, why does it smell in here? We're like, oh, it must be the food, or, just... and so there are
the fine print.
Yeah, if you are going to book an Airbnb, if you are going to be an Airbnb landlord, please make sure that your fine print is fully specified and don't pull an Erik Hatch and be a dummy.
Quickly, here we just got a little bit of time. Find all your stuff at Hatch Realty.
Yeah, so easy to find us. HatchRealty.com. You'll find us on Facebook, Instagram, even TikTok. Look at how hip we are, Derek.
Nice.
But yeah, go to HatchRealty.com for everything that you need. We'd love to be in your world.
All right, we'll see you again next month. Thanks so much. Derek Hanson in for the drive. That was Keeping It Real with Erik Hatch.
Welcome to Soybean Minute, your source for timely soybean news.
I'm North Dakota Soybean Council Director Austin Langley of Warwick. With the combination of existing stresses in our agricultural industry right now, the pileup of stress can leave farmers feeling powerless and frustrated. Dr. Sean Brotherson, NDSU Extension Family Specialist, explains that talking with others, taking time to assess options, and developing proactive steps to pursue are valuable steps in being able to regain a sense of control when facing challenges. Stress signals